photograph that I've turned black and white and made into a sketch, some graphite paper, and this is just a canvas. So I'm going to show you my trick. The first thing I want to do is tape my graphite paper down a little bit. Make sure it doesn't move too much. Not that it matters. I am going to be doing pretty much a basic shape, not the entire thing. This just helps make it faster. It makes a lot of things faster for me, and make sure that I am super accurate because I kind of feel that that's important. So tape it on two sides so I can maybe pull it up and look and see where I'm at. And I have a sharp tool. I have no idea what this is, but it's good for doing what I'm doing. And so all I'm going to do now is wherever the dark areas are and the outlines, I want to go around those outlines so I have a good proportion and size on there. And I'm just rubbing back and forth. And this is the same stuff you used to use to make copies before we had copy machines, actually. So the only thing that I want out of this is the shape. And I'm using the wider end. I'm not using the pointed end. I'm just trying to get the shape and make sure it's accurate. For those of you out there that can't draw, you can do this. And you can get your picture without having to draw it. I can draw. I just prefer not to if it's going to take me a long time. So now I just pull up the side and I can see that I've gotten a little bit of an outline there. This helps me go a lot faster with my portraits. And that's the one reason I never really did a lot of portraits, because I really do like them to be very accurate. And if I'm going to do them, I want them to be accurate, that's for sure. And so you can see I'm just kind of going back and forth, rubbing in those dark areas so I know where they are. You know, I thought for years that you had to do every single bit of the art to make it, you know, your own and that kind of thing, but that's not really true. There's so many advances nowadays that, you know, you can be your own little artist and you don't have to do every single part of it. So now again, just checking, and that's good enough. And if you wanted more, you can actually, you know, you can do darker, you can rub in more, which I'm going to go around his jawline. And this is my dog Clyde. He is a Borbal, which is a South African Mastiff. He's a big boy. He's currently 10 months old and about, I don't know, 130 pounds or so. He's a big boy. And he's a big turkey, too. But I love doing people's pets. I really do. It makes me very happy. The only sad part is that, you know, a lot of the things that I do when I'm doing people's pets, I'm doing it for a gift of some sort, whether it be because they passed away, they crossed the rainbow bridge, or as a Christmas present, or anything like that. And I can't show you what I've done until usually months later, which is really hard for me, because that means I have to keep a secret about what I did and all that kind of stuff, and I don't like that. I'd rather not keep a secret if I didn't have to. I'd love, you know, because you get excited about what you do, and I want to show it off first thing. That's the main thing. I want to show it off. I want to be so excited and say, look what I did, look what I did. All right, we're getting there. And like I said, always go back and check your work to see how you're doing. Make sure you're getting all the lines in that you can possibly get in. All right, we can start to see some. Make sure our tape is down. Make sure we've got it smoothed out. And we're going to go back up here. I'm going to make that a little darker. And don't press all the way through like you're going to destroy the paper. Just remember that. If you want to make sure you've got dark, just color it in, you know, push it more with the darkness. And that'll get you in there. Yep, my boy is a big boy. And he's a big goofball, too. He's so bad. Mastiffs are typically hard-headed, and I do not recommend anyone owning a Mastiff who doesn't know about the Mastiff breed. You're going to have to know a lot about the Mastiff breed in order to own one, because they are they're livestock guardians. This particular Mastiff was born to fight lions. He was bred to fight lions, and so they are very strong. He is, I say he's 135 pounds, and he is solid muscle. He has a little extra loose skin, and that's about the extent of it, because for the most part, he is solid muscle. There's not a bit of fat on him. He's supposed to get up to 170 pounds or better. And God help me when he does. But he's a cutie pie, and he will get, the Mastiffs tend to not really mature till they're about 2.5 years old, which most dogs, it's about 2 years old, but Mastiffs a little bit longer. And when he matures, he will be very, very protective of his, you know, herd, flock, whatever you want to call us, his family. And so if you don't socialize them really, really well while they're young, you could end up with a dog that won't allow anyone in or near your family or your house. And that's not really something that you want, because you might have company every once in a while. Or you might have somebody come over that's a friend, and you know, these are big dogs. And you have to make sure that you are their master. So Clyde, he's got a heart of gold, sweet as he can be, goofy as he can be. And you can go and watch most of my reels and everything. And I'm going to start posting some of the shorts on YouTube of us going and swimming and all that kind of stuff. We go down to a creek, and we have the best fun there. All right, see? You can start to see a little bit that's on his face. Where we're getting it. And this is just a basic help me get it in place kind of thing. It's not going to be perfect, not right now. So they're very, Mastiffs are also very expressive. I've had boxers for, I don't know, over 30 something years, and I love my boxers. But it has been heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, to say the least, to lose so many of them to cancer, because they're very cancer prone. So my last Mastiff boxer that I had, he was a Mastiff boxer mix. And I lost him to cancer earlier this year. And it was very, very hard on me. Very, very hard. So I wouldn't want another dog. But we got Clyde in our life, so we're going to be happy with Clyde. And he's a cutie pie. And my husband's like, we're not doing boxers. I can't take losing any more boxers for a while. And So I have my one boxer girl, Lucy, and my big boarable mastiff, Clyde. And he's just a mess. That's all I can say. He's a mess. Lots of expression. Very cute, but also a lot to handle. So, let's see. Oh, there's his eyes. And that's another thing to me. I can't do a portrait without the eyes being correct. If you don't get the eyes correct on any portrait, whether it be a human or an animal or anything, it won't look right. And so you have to make sure you get the eyes correct on the portraits. And distance, size, shape, all that good stuff is most important. All right, let's look and see. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, I think we're doing well with that. Looking at his eyes. Yeah, he does kind of look like he has a little bit of a beady eyes. But that's okay. We love him. All right. All right, I think this will do it. Looking at my picture back and forth. And it'll take probably the camera a second to readjust. But that way you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And that gives me the basic outline of what I want to do in a portrait. You can see. And now I would just use this piece as my reference piece. And so I just fold the tape around on my graphite paper. And you can, look, this paper can be used over and over and over again. You can use it many times before you have to get a new piece of paper. So when you purchase it, and it's not an easy thing to find, you'll probably have to look over in the sketching or something like that. So when you purchase it, don't worry about, oh, it only comes with so many pieces, because you'll use that one piece over and over again until it's better. So this will be now my reference, and I'll put that somewhere and clip it up so I can actually see it. Hold on one second. And all right, that's going to be it for now until we get this more drawn in. So what I'll do from here is maybe get a pencil and draw it in a little bit more, or I might just start even painting. I'd already gone over this canvas with some chalk paint, and it's a good idea. I like the surface that chalk paint creates because I'm a multimedia artist, and I like to use markers, I use paint, I use all kinds of stuff. So we'll get more into that a little bit later on. All right, now using the picture that I had, that I used the graphite paper with, I'm just going to look at that picture, and I'm going to also look at my canvas, and I'm going to mark the lines in a little bit better, just so that all right, folks, y'all have to be a little patient with me. It's been several years I hate to say that, since I've actually recorded anything, because I did have a granddaughter in the process of things that kind of changed my world. So here we are. But I'm now trying to get back to doing this a little bit for you guys. You know, now you might hear me yell at Clyde because he's right here beside me and he keeps putting his nose on the table. So I apologize for that. And I wanted to show you something about when I paint. I use these little paint pots that you can find at any of the craft stores, and I pre-mix most of my own paints and my own colors, so I can't really tell you exactly what color this is or what color that is, because typically I put my own paint in these, and it comes because I'm very frugal and I don't have a lot of money, of course. So I'm very, very frugal, and I want my paint to be preserved, and I don't use a palette per se. So this is basically my palette that I mix in, and I can always cap it with the lid so I can save every drop of paint because it's precious to me. So just so you know, that's why you will see me use these guys, and I use them to paint with because it's just easier for me, and it's a whole lot cheaper if you don't have to keep buying paint. Clyde, leave it alone, honey. He is literally sitting there watching the computer screen as I'm recording this, thinking, what is that going on? He's so funny and smart. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to darken this background. I'm a very big fan of the Rembrandt style of painting portraits and stuff, where basically the backgrounds are really dark, and then, you know, your person is in and out of shadows. It gives just a really nice touch. And I use acrylics mostly. I'm really excited that a lot of the acrylic companies are coming out with acrylic markers and stuff, because that makes everything so easy. Makes everything a lot easier. And I'll use a paper towel, and I used to do oils, and I love oils. There's nothing better for richness than oils, but quite frankly, I don't have the time for oils to wait for them to dry, and I don't have the space, and also I like to have it cleaned up fairly easily. And like I said, on this canvas, all I did was go over it with some chalk paint, some white chalk paint. And y'all, I am super cheap. When I say I'm cheap, I'm really, really cheap. I used like the Dollar General chalk paint, you know, that they have in their little art section. So that's all that I used, and it's just a base coat. I know that all the canvases are pre-treated. They all come with a white gesso on them, but I like to put my own, and the better the chalk paint, the better it will look. But if all you got is cheap stuff, that's what you use. And so this is nothing but basic color blocking. Putting some color on a canvas. Does not have to be anything close to perfect. And I'm just going to go around him. I'm not going to do anything fancy, because by the time that I add in all his fur and everything, then that'll change everything up quite a lot. And as you can see, I'm just dipping out of my little paint pot, and this is a random color that I picked. I was hoping for a purpley blue, but it looks like it's going to be blue, so we're going with that. And from time to time you'll see me dip my big paintbrush, and I might kind of wipe it off on my paint pot to make my paint a little bit thinner, to go a little bit further, whatever the case may be. And I am glad that a lot of these canvases, they're wrapped all the way around nowadays. You got to make sure you get your sides, so that way if your customer can't afford to or doesn't want to get a frame at the moment, they can always come back later and do it. and as long as it's painted on the sides, it'll still look good hanging up. As I tell you what, the art, the labor is costly. However, the biggest part of any art that you'll ever buy is going to be the frame. That's the most expensive thing you can buy. And I'm not knocking anybody who does framing. I admire the amount of detail, attention to detail that you have to make it look good. It's just, it is costly because of the woods. It's costly because of the attention to detail you gotta have. Every little thing. So you can see I'm kind of haphazard here. I'm dipping into my paint pot, just going around, not doing anything fancy. Not yet. We're not fancy. All we're doing is color blocking. And when I say that, I'm just putting colors in places that I want them. And I'll come back later and maybe change it up, maybe make it different. It may end up a totally different color. You never know. So you can see. And so we're just doing a little bust portrait, because this dog is just, quite frankly, too big to fit on a canvas. He's so big. And so much trouble. Last night, he got into my granddaughter's shoes again. He loves shoes. Loves shoes. And he goes and gets the prettiest pair he can find and tears them up while I was sleeping. I could kill him for it. That's just, you know, I'm just kidding, of course, but he drives me crazy. Alright. So, there is a thing that you can do to speed this up too, and I've done this. I've done it as well in the process. If I'm in a hurry or something, I get a heat gun, and it's just your simple heat gun that you can get from any hardware store. And you get a heat gun and you can run it across here a couple of times, and I guarantee you it'll be dry in just seconds. So let's see, we got another little bit of blue, and it doesn't have to look pretty right now. This is just for the background purposes. It's not perfect. And let's see what else we got. What other colors do we have? So what I do is I'll get my my acrylic. Americana is my favorite, but whatever acrylic paint that I'm using, I like the Americana because I like the richness that it gives, and I'll just pour and mix it into these little paint pots, and it's nice rich colors and all that good stuff. Alright, so while that's doing its little thing, it'll take me less than 5 minutes for it to dry. I could paint wet on wet if I want to put more into it, but I don't really have to do it right now. I'm just going to let that dry for just a second and come right back. Alright. Alright, so now that the blue is dry, I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some green in there. This is kind of like a camouflage green, but I'll tell you what I do a lot of times with the green is I mix this folk art, and I have it in a couple different things, but it's royal gold, and I like to put a little bit of that in my green and give it that golden green color. I like to do that also a lot of times with black and mix it in there, and this is just to add a little bit of something else. And I will probably go back many times over this background color until I get a color that I'm really happy with. And don't feel that you don't have to be satisfied with, you know, whatever you have the first time. You can always change it up and go with that. And it's good to have layers, because layers mean depth. Always have layers because they add more depth. Another thing that I do to my paints a lot of times is I will add some thickening agents to my acrylic paints, meaning I might add baking soda, use that to make it a little thicker, to make it more like chalk paint. I've added, what do you call it, spackling paste, either the little quick dry paste or even the longer term spackling paste. You can add other powders and things to make your paint thicker if you want, or make it more like chalk paint. That's entirely up to you what you add, till you get the right consistency for whatever project you're working on. And it's just good because sometimes when you add those things, it makes it more matte looking, and you can put several different colors together, and it'll give you more of a matte look, and it'll give you a thicker look to it, to the paint. So I'm going back into that blue that I had in there originally, and I'm just going to work wet on wet right now, kind of smoothing it out, changing up my colors a little, making it more softer looking, and removing some of the brush strokes. I mean, sometimes you want brush strokes and sometimes you don't. It just depends. So you can see I'm just kind of feathering out some of the brush strokes, and all I'm doing is going back and forth, lightly feathering it, and adding a little bit more blue back into it. And it's no different than if you were going to get a portrait done at a photography studio, which I also do that. But if you were going to get a portrait done, you would probably put in front of a background like this, with lots of different colors and that are complementary to, you know, whatever you're trying to do or whatever theme you're going for. So we are just trying to make Mr. Clyde look as good as he can look. And so I'm just going to feather a little bit more, and that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to stick my brush in some water and give it a quick dry with my heat gun. Now I will tell you, if you go too high with a heat gun and you sit in one spot, it will surely make a hole in the canvas. So don't do that. You want to go on the lower speed unless you're wanting the paint to bubble or you're creating an effect, which I have done before. I create an effect because a heat gun will make your paint bubble, and it'll also put a hole in the canvas in a quickness. So and that's about all there is to it. It's that quick. And you can see mostly dry. There's a couple little places that might not be, but mostly it's dry. So I'm keeping my phone by me, and I have the picture in front of me, so the phone will give me the color reference. You can see a picture of my boy right there, and as he's sniffing right behind me, and that'll give me color references because he's kind of a redhead, and he has a lot of black markings and a lot of expressiveness in his face. So I'm going to start with maybe adding some oranges and some browns to give him his redhead appeal. And you will also see that I frequently add gold to my oranges as well. I like to give people a little bit of a surprise, if you want to say, or a little bit of magic to their portraits and their photographs, and that's why I say I'm a multimedia artist. I don't just paint, I like to add other things to it. And you can see all I'm going to do is color block this in, and I'm just putting in the color, and it doesn't really matter. I don't have to worry about details or anything like that. But so yeah, I like to add, I'll frequently do stuff like I might put glow in the dark stuff. You never know. I might put fabric paint because I like the look of the fabric paint because it's raised. You can get that dimensional paint and use it. just, you know, free your mind up and know that you don't have to be one kind of painter. Get my picture back again. You can be all different kinds of a painter. You don't have to be just one. And that is the good thing about all the advancements in art materials and stuff nowadays, is you have a lot to choose from. And it's not like the old days where they taught you, okay, well, you're going to be an oil artist or you're going to be this or that. You don't have to do all that. You can do whatever you want. So all I'm doing right now is looking for the highlighted areas in my picture that are the more orange colors. And I'm going to lay down the orange paint, you know, as best as I can around there, just to give him some looks of the light colors. So orange is probably going to be, orange and yellow will be the closest to the lightest colors that I use, because he does have a lot of black on him as well. And I'm not worried about fur. I'm not worried about anything else at this point. Only his lighter colors and getting his lineage in. And what I mean by that is just following the lines that I have drawn down here. And know that my boy is really hefty. He's a hefty boy. Gotta touch the phone every once in a while to keep it going. And he's got a lighter on his jaw down here. And darker underneath. And like I said, the name of the game with all of this is going to be layers. It's going to be lots and lots of layers. That's what gives you your depth. That's what gives you the look that you want. And that'll make it look realistic, more realistic, I should say. This is not a, I'm not a perfectly photorealistic painter. I do tend to be a little bit more on the abstract side, but that's okay too. You don't have to be a photorealistic painter to be a painter. It's taken me years to accept the type of artist that I am, and be okay with everything, that I'm not perfect on everything. Alright, let's see. And I'm just using a slightly little angled brush, you can see here, to get his colors in. And when I mix in my paint pots, I might mix several colors to get a color that I'm looking for. And I don't overmix my paint. That's another thing that I don't do. I don't like to overmix. Because when you're putting the paint down on your canvas, it's always kind of good to have a few different colors popping in and out of there. So it doesn't have to be mixed to pieces, you know? You don't have to have that. Alrighty. Alright, so now you can kind of see where we're going. We're just putting some color down. That's all. We'll close that one, and let's see what we got in this brown color. Alright, so your basic brown. Doesn't have to be fancy. We're just going to be, like I said, putting color blocks in. So I know that up under here, and this is a thinner brown, so I might have to let it dry a little bit in between. Acrylics, that's the best thing about them. You can add water, you can subtract water by letting it just sit in the open air and dry a little bit. I'm going to do that. And thinner the acrylic is, the more it just kind of lays over the top of the pencil work, so it doesn't cover up all of your markings that you have. That way it's easy for you to retrace your steps, so to speak. I'll even leave like along a line. I might leave just a little bit of white right there to keep my lines where I want them. I've done that. You know, different little tricks that help me keep my lines where I want them. Let's see. I'm putting brown in here, although a lot of this is going to end up being black and hints of red. And when I'm doing a portrait for someone, a pet portrait for someone, it might take me usually a couple of days to do. That's generally about the amount of time, because I'll go back over it many, many times trying to make sure I have it just right. I'm doing one for myself right now, so it's important, but it's not as important as if I were using it for a client. And you can see I'm kind of going over some of the oranges and the different colors as well. And I think because his eyes are such a light color brown, I'm probably going to use the orange to go in over that as well. And see, just a little bit of color here and there. And Sometimes you gotta change it up a little bit. That was really bothering me, so I had to fix it. Blue and then the green. And feather it out again to the wet blue. Got me. It's just, adds a little bit extra color. This is what happens when I get to going too fast. Alright, let's see. Let's do a little drying. Right. Set that over to the side. Oop, too white. Alright, let's add a little bit of brown. Layering on the color. This one's going to be really hard to believe. This boy that I'm painting, my boy, is 10 months old in this picture. He is currently 10 months old. Not even close to his full size. He's gonna be a monster. You kind of see how that orange is starting to work below the brown. Now that I'm adding these brown layers, it makes a difference and how it looks, it softens everything. You can really see it starting to soften it up some. And you can either add more paint or take it off just by how you move your brush. Hi, Lucy dog. Lucy just came in here. I'm surprised the monster puppy isn't in here yet. Where's your brother? Did you leave him somewhere? Yeah, you can really start to see it transition now. I like to do the personality pet portraits. That's always fun when you know the personality of an animal, their name, things like that, things that their owners really like. Those are things that I like to know, because that can change how a portrait might look, and it's going to be, you know, people like that a lot more if they know it, if it's something they like. So the personality portraits are really great. I usually dress them in a hat or in an outfit or something to that effect. But Clyde, I just don't know yet. I just don't know what I want him to be yet. You know, I don't know what his personality should be. It's his personality isn't in how he looks. It's you know, it's like I said, it's more likely how he acts or something to that effect. So I could put him in like a beret or something, but I don't know. I don't know. He's such a big blockhead. So I'm going to have to kind of work on that and see what I think about it. You could see that brown just kind of toned everything down and took it to a new level. It's not quite where it was. It was looking, you know, that's how it does with the underpainting, is the brown takes it down and brings it to a different way of looking at him. So you can't really see my phone real well, but gives you an idea. So the next thing I want to do is find another thin black and go up under here with his thin black, and just going to be this one here. I still want to go in and make some darker areas up underneath his chin and add that. Once you have those basic big blotches of color, the big color blocks that I was talking about, that helps you with everything else. What are you looking for, Lucy? My Lucy dog is being nosy and putting her chin on my leg. I'll do this several times, you know, make the colors really bright and then tone them really down. And it's all, like I said, it's all about creating the layers.
I really hope that you've enjoyed this painting. I am offering portraits like these. You can look me up on Deanna Carroll, DeonnaCarroll at Facebook, or Ivycreates, whichever you would like. I hope you enjoy it. It's been a long time since I've actually done a video, so I'm trying to get back to it. And so my editing will probably be a little sketchy, but this is, I love Victorian things, all things Victorian. So I ended up doing steampunk for Mr. Clyde with his steampunked hat and his furry coat that he's got on. And I guess that's all. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. And let me know any tips or tricks you might have or what you might like to see. You can find me on my Facebook. You can also find me on this Ivycreates channel, and I hope to be having a few more channels coming up. I do many things besides paint, including floral design, photography, just to name a few. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you being here and being patient with my video editing skills. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought. And also, don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that notification bell, because those things help us to keep on making videos. Thank you again, and goodbye.